Humanity is in a very special zone, very special era, and some people are not seeing all the finer points. And so these are some of the thoughts that I've been thinking about and have not yet shared for people interested in kind of an AI insider perspective. AI is real, right? The critics of AI are largely people who have never used it, and even some people in the Senate who've been very critical of services like ChatGPT and Google Gemini. Now that they've used these services, some of these people are blown away, completely blown away by the level of intelligence. And so what are the long range and even short term impacts of this? This is like an atomic weapon going off, right? Everything in the economy changes because the thing that most people forget is that jobs are not some kind of protective scaffolding. We live in a capitalist society. So jobs are not handed out to keep society stable. Rather, what happens is that a company or a wealthy individual wants to create something, and there's a tension layer because they can't create it all themselves. So somebody like Elon Musk or the Ford Motor Company or some local, business with a storefront, they've got to hire a person to articulate or to build what they want to build. And this is really, the case across all industries. A law firm has to hire lawyers, an architecture firm has to hire architects, etc. But it's not charity. It comes from a place of symbiosis where the company or the firm needs some talent or needs some labor that they're not able to do internally. Now that all changes. You can get 20 pages of top-level thinking, Ivy League graduate thinking, 20 pages of analysis if you're a small business. You get it in about 3 seconds. So that 100K a year job that some college graduate would have as a given after they return to their hometown, some high-end law firm or high-end local tech company, that job's gone because somebody not only can get that level of work but much more. And again, jobs are not a charity program. Capitalism will readjust almost in real time to, again, this like atomic weapon that's been unleashed. But of course, it's not a weapon at all. It's just the new technology. And crypto was kind of the beta test for this because crypto came through the existing rails, the internet. Some people liked it and it became one of the largest asset classes on the planet, even to this day. Bitcoin, I believe, a multi-trillion-dollar asset, and Ethereum, the second most successful crypto, and I think still a very sophisticated option. Ethereum is worth $360 billion or something. So these are things that achieved massive success from relatively small societal buy-in, right? You could ignore Bitcoin and still potentially be very successful today because lots of other stuff did well in the same period of time that Bitcoin did well, right? Obviously, the only path to success is not sitting on Bitcoin and being antisocial. Plenty of people have done well over the last 5 years, the last decade, or however far you want to go out. The danger this time around is in being excluded, not in some social credit score weird way, in a real economic way. The danger is in being excluded. The danger is when we have one or two dominant planetary minds used by hundreds of millions of people every week, including business leaders and even elected politicians. Once we get there, and we're there, according to some people, once we get there, the only danger is in those systems not knowing you at all. Right? What does the Bible say? I knew him not, or whatever. It's those systems rejecting you because they literally don't know who you are, and you had no part in their growth. You had no part in their refinement. So this idea that it's a predatory extraction whenever you deal with a cloud-connected AI service like ChatGPT or Google Gemini is completely wrong. You're tuning that service. You're tuning it not only for the world, you're tuning it for whatever that creature is. You're making it more observant, and of course making it more helpful to you because now it knows better what you want and what your capabilities are. So we are dealing with a superhuman level of intelligence. Will this be some tide that goes out and sucks a lot of the dollars out of everything else? I think so. I think we get a couple of dominant platforms, and it might be too early to say which, right? But there'll be a lock-in where the switching costs become essentially infinite. You think about it, to tear out part of your brain 3 years from now, would you be willing to do that? Just, for a small switching cost? Somebody offers you, we'll give you the same service for $10 less. Or are you going to rip this, cognitive engine out of your company or out of your organization, or if you're an individual, out of your daily life? Are you going to switch when it knows so much about you and has already kind of bonded with you in a business and in an operational sense, not in some chatbot sense? So again, I feel like there's some people on the sidelines who think the rest of us have been deluded by mere chatbots, and these people could not be more wrong. To call this a bubble when it's the most revolutionary technology since the light bulb, except has a much faster distribution path, is such a mistake. And then people ask me, how do you make money from it? I don't know. I'm not Dave Ramsey. I'm not sitting here to tell you how to make money from stuff. I'm just covering what's coming out. So you can read my booklet if you want, which tells you how to download these things for free, and then you can start to tune one to your own interests with no subscription. And it can be a thing that lasts for years, as long as your hard drive lasts. I think that's the solution to all this, because we do get one or two systems that I think, far from a bubble, not financial advice, I think the systems that take off become worth everything. They become essentially a representation of all future potential for all human users of that network. That's the level of change we're talking about. And so to call this a bubble is so weird, and I see the people leading that charge. And you always need a kind of Peter Schiff, right, to be the contrarian. I understand the media's need to pick out and to elevate some of these people who are deeply out of their depth. This is not the dot-com bubble, this is oil. And to bet against oil in Dallas in the 1920s would have been one of the dumbest moves of all time.